Hello, folks. My name is Detroit Miracle, and I'm coming back to you on this fine Labor Day holiday. Yep, guess that means that summer officially is coming to an end. So you have all of those cold days to look forward to, but you still have to get through the fall season first. And that's not going to be as bad as the winter. I know I'm not trying to give all of you a history lesson because if you live long enough, all of you are well aware of the seasons as well as the weathery conditions. You know what gets me? Well, another thing that gets me is that a lot of people are out there holding up those food signs or those hard luck signs. Yeah, that's very sad. It's very sad, but it's true at the same time. It's like everywhere you go, you'll see people holding up signs. And now I'm seeing more white people hold up more signs than black people hold up. I know some people might be a little bit confused as to what I'm talking about. Well, let me explain it. Okay, have you been out and about in society during your journeys and saw a person hold up a sign that says something like, I'm homeless, I'm hungry, I need food, or something like that? Those are the type of signs that I mean. A lot of people are out, like out and about. It's not just one particular type of poor person of a singular ethnic race, but now seems like there are more poor people than it ever has been. And that's why I said earlier, people, you have more power as a collective to change things for the better in your own lives. You cannot trust some politician to do that for you because they never ever will. No matter what they say during those speeches, they'll make all the promises that they can't keep. And then once they get in office, it's business as usual. I know, but you can't blame politicians for everything when you put them in office as an adult collective. You're deferring responsibility to them where you should have assumed and upheld that responsibility for your own well benefit, privileges, and success. But people don't do that. They get on kids for not having responsibility or taking responsibility for breaking a window, coming home late for school from school, or doing other things, not doing homework. But adults are the main people that defer responsibility and do not take responsibility for their own well-being. And in the case where adults do that, they put political officials in office and entrust them to change things for the better for the masses so that they will not be required to do so. I'm not here to try to turn this into an only type of political message because I want to touch on other things, and I did thus far. Like with the situation with the homeless people and with people holding up signs all over the country saying that they're hungry and homeless. That means that they are letting you know their situation and it isn't good. So you know this sort of thing is happening worldwide. Now when I see major elections like the governor's race, the presidency, the House of Representatives, and the Senate, and this has been for decades since I've been alive, why isn't hunger and homelessness the number one and number two issues for topics of discussions for those political candidates? Why do they always seem to bypass those issues? And why do the public do not like highlight those issues? The public never highlights those issues for the political pre-elected officials. So it's like they never say, hey, what are you going to do about all this homelessness, all of this hunger, and all of this drug abuse, all of these domestic violence issues, all of the crime in general? Look, people, those are key issues. Those are the main issues. If those political officials will not do anything about those, then what use are those political officials to you? Yeah, people, and then like the political officials will say, well, we can't do much about that because it's always been the case. Like they're following tradition. It's always been the case, it's always been around for hundreds of years and in some cases thousands of years. But why won't they seek to break that tradition if they are entrusted to do so? You could do away with foolish traditions. You can, people. And it all comes down to another thing, which is a big problem in society. I mean, socially wide, spanning the globe. There's something called greed, acquisitions, accumulations of excess, where people obtain much more than they need. Then they in many cases they have enough for 1,000 lifetimes worth of living, but nevertheless they don't stop there and they don't seek to improve the social conditions for other people. And that's the preservation of greed right there, and it's traditional. Have you ever heard of a few millionaires and billionaires that said when they die, they're going to leave most of their wealth to the public, to programs that will help the needy and improve the quality and conditions in their lives? Now, when millionaires and billionaires say that, that means they're trying to break that tradition of greed within their family structure. And that it might have been traditional, but nevertheless they feel that it is wrong. I've heard a few millionaires and a few billionaires say that. They said we're going to leave our kids probably 20% of our earnings, but we're going to leave the rest to charity because they do not want to carry on that tradition. They know if they leave their kids all of their money, then their kids are going to carry on that long tradition of greed. And they're going to be stingy and hoard in wealth and not help anybody in society or not create programs that people can benefit off of. I know I can sense it. There are people that will say, well, Detroit Miracle, those rich people, those politicians, and those caring contributors really do not owe anybody anything, but they do it out of the kindness of their hearts. Yeah, and I can understand that. No, I can understand that whole thing as far as you feeling as though you don't really owe anybody anything unless you do. But the truth of the matter is everybody owes somebody something. Like, this is a helper society. It is a contributing society. It is a charitable society. When we all were kids, when we were born, like, the doctors that brought us into this reality, the doctors and nurses, they did their kind acts and they made sure we came in safe and sound. So they did us a solid there, a favor. Now that same doctor or nurse might show up years later and say, hey, can you help me? I was the one that ensured that you had a safe, healthy birth where you had no complications, which some kids do, which were most unfortunate. But if that doctor, that nurse showed up and said, hey, I'm the nurse, I'm the doctor that helped birth you, where you feel as though you owe them something, and your mother and father that helped raise you, your mother that helped you like grow and conditioned you, to know the things you needed to know in stages, and those teachers that, I mean, those good, kind teachers that helped you, that helped instill in you, like which was vital to you as far as education. Yeah. So to make a long story short, everybody owes somebody something, because because everybody has been given some kind of kindness or shown kindness by somebody. It doesn't matter if you're rich or you're poor. Somebody owes somebody something. Trust me. So if everybody owes everybody something, or somebody owes somebody, then how can many people feel like they don't owe anybody anything? Because look, people, we weren't just born fully grown and aware with all the skills and essentials that we needed to live and be successful. All of those things were conditioned in us through stages of our growth. So just say that's another way of looking at it. That when somebody says, "Hey, I don't really owe anybody anything," no, in truth, you do owe somebody something. You might not owe everybody something, but you might owe somebody. So everybody owes somebody something. So all of us do owe somebody. So yeah, and I include myself too, you know, in this society. Well, folks, it's been fun, but I gotta bring this to an end, this particular message, and try to get some holiday thrills in. And I'd appreciate it if you would share this message, like this message, and please subscribe to my channel, Detroit Miracle.